Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to this edition of College Daily. I'm Tyler Reedman. Tracy Moore's book, Mind Games, seems to be on most people's minds ever since it hit the market. Jacob Vinnigan has more on the story.
Vince moved towards the drywall, but Amy grabbed his flashlight.
Students and staff came together to help support USF student Tracy Moore with his new book, Mind Games. College Daily caught up with Cecil Cooper to discuss how she has helped Tracy throughout his USF career and what she might think about his new book.
Oh, well, I think it's remarkable. I'm really excited for Tracy and the whole writing process that he's gone through here at USF. And I'm proud to have been part of his LAR freshman class. No, absolutely none, except what I've seen on Facebook. So I'm really excited to read it. Well, I hope that this is just the beginning of a big career, both in writing and in film, which he's also very talented in.
Later, I caught up with Tracy during USF Java Talk to discuss his own thoughts on his new book.
Hello, welcome to Java Talk. My name is Jake Vinnigan, and I'm sitting down with Tracy Moore and his new book, Mind Games. So, how do you feel right now?
I feel really excited to finally have the book out. People are reading it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Are you feeling good about this?
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. So first, I don't know a whole lot about this book. So could you tell me, kind of introduce me, sell me on this book, Mind Games. What's it about?
So the book is called Mind Games, and it is a suspense thriller about a CSI photographer living in San Francisco. People start disappearing from the city, and he and his team of detectives have to follow the case. There's a lot of twists and turns in this book, and I actually interviewed real police and detectives and a judge to write the book. I took forensic psychology to sort of research this field.
That's awesome. So, describe the process that you took to start writing this novel.
I have experience writing screenplays, so I started with the characters, and then I add the situation, and I work with the timeline. So I did draft it out, and sort of on a scene-by-scene basis to try to figure out what was going to happen. And there's a lot of foreshadowing throughout the story, so I have to know what happens at the end either way.
So did you have this whole thing planned out then, or did you kind of start writing and then go along?
It was sort of a discovery process. And when I took forensic psychology, I actually went back and integrated a lot of authenticity into the book.
Awesome. So, do you think you'll write another novel?
Yes, I already have many ideas for more books, but I would like to do a comedy book because this one is more drama and suspense. And I would like to do something where I use those elements of the fast-pacing storytelling, but I use it with comedic scenes.
Awesome. So, will you write a sequel to this book?
That's a great question. There is one character in this book named Max that I really think he could get his own sequel. From the people that have read it and talked with me about it, he is their favorite character, and I think there's a lot more that we could know about what he's going to do next.
Absolutely. So speaking of characters, did you base the characters off of people in your real life, or did you come up with them out of the blue?
Well, there's bits and pieces that I take from real life, but no one was like a direct characterization of anyone that I know. But there are certainly, like I used to work at Hy-Vee, there's certainly things that I would observe about the way people behave in public, for example, and I really do incorporate some of that behavior when no one thinks anyone is paying attention.
So would you consider yourself a behavior analyst, and then you take that and then you pour it into a book?
Well, I believe that writers have to constantly be observing, sort of be like a stranger in your own hometown or a stranger in your streets, to be observing what's happening from a sort of a objective point of view, and you start seeing things that you wouldn't normally be looking for if you weren't trying to think of ways to incorporate them into scenes.
Sure. So, like when you get a new car and then you see that same kind of car all over the place, is it kind of like that? Have you found yourself seeing different behaviors of people all around without even trying now?
Yes. I actually studied some lie detection stuff for this book, and it's very strange to watch when people are lying. There's a lot of different body language changes and things like that. And so I tried to incorporate that with some characters in my book, like what was happening with them physically, so that you weren't just saying they were lying, but you can show that they were lying by what happens with their face and their body.
That sounds really cool. I'm really excited. I think you've already sold me on this book, but I still have a few more questions.
Okay.
So, what advice would you give to other aspiring novelists?
My advice is you cannot wait for inspiration. You cannot, it has to become a habit. You have to sit down. If you want to complete a project of this length, you have to discipline yourself to form a plan and have goals along the way. It's great to have an idea at the start, and that's the best part of the process when you're first coming up with stuff. But to stick with the characters and stick with the story and be able to finish it, that's the challenging part.
That's a challenge, I bet. So, thank you so much, Tracy. I'm going to shake your hand.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. You had an awesome interview. Thanks for tuning in. This was Java Talk. I'm Jacob Inningen. This is Tracy Moore, and we'll see you next time.
That wraps up today's edition of College Daily. I'm Tyler Reedman. We'll see you tomorrow.